Time for the ride home in ENC. This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Patrick Johnson Show. Nice to have you along here as we traverse through this soggy Tuesday in the wild, wacky world of sports and around Pirate Nation. All right, great to have you along. The great P-Man here with you, Patrick Johnson. Philip the Rep Pilkington is alongside as we get ready for another game week in Pirate Nation. Back on a Saturday, ECU and Temple. Coming up, it'll be our Houston Harrell Huddle. Jeez Louise. Harrell Huddle.
That's twice, Patrick. I think you did it about 3 weeks ago. It's the H's. It's the H's. It's the alliteration.
It's the alliteration. Yeah, it's the alliteration.
Our English teachers would be proud of us.
Mine's never proud of me. And despite the fact her husband, the great Claude Kennedy, listens on the reg, the great Claude Kennedy. But so where was I, Pilk? Where was I before you started interrupting?
You were going to talk about how we're going to have Joe Giglio on today.
You almost coughed it up there.
I did.
Harrell, the Harrell Huddle. Henry Hinton will join us for that. And then Joe Giglio, you're right, from the OG podcast will be on, because one of the things we're going to talk about in the top 5 is something I wanted to talk to him about today. And a lot of interesting things. We like Joe's perspective. He was at ECU Tulsa this past Thursday a week ago. So getting Joe's perspective on this will be tremendous. Now, one thing we mentioned last night during the show, Inside Pirate, well, there's two things from Inside Pirate Athletics last night. One, Pilk, did you know that this is the longest scheduled in-season, regular season period of time off between games for the Pirates, 16 days?
I knew that when Malcolm slid you a little sticky note and you announced it in tiebreakers.
Okay, you heard that. But
I heard
those that maybe did not catch the coach's show last night, the last time was a 15-day outing between games, 15-day span, which came in, I can't remember if it was 07 or 08 or 09, but it was when UCF was in the league still, or they were in the same league as UCF, maybe in Big Conference USA then. Anyway, the point is that the Pirates beat both Memphis and UCF in between those 15 days in between. I believe it was 08. I'm pretty confident.
I think that's what you said. I'm pretty sure that's what you said.
So the great Malcolm Gray, shout out Malcolm, who won a Frost Buddy the week before in the raffle. You could come there and win prizes, by the way. If you've not been to a coach's show, I would say show up. You have a chance to win fabulous door prizes, including the patriotic-themed Pirate Skull and Crossbones Frost Buddy, which has great versatility, and you can enjoy beverages with.
Here's my issue, Patrick. Malcolm wins 2 weeks ago, and then David Horn wins last night. I'm starting to think there's...
No, David didn't win anything.
I thought David did.
You thought wrong. I guess Scott Shook, in his rare form last night, was talking so much, you could not...
Maybe that's what it was. I don't get a ticket. I get there too early to get a ticket.
Well, go get it. You go.
I know. I probably could after. I don't want to win, and then people will be like, he's rigging it for Pilk.
Nobody's gonna say we're rigging it for. Don't you think I would have rigged it for the Big Hen and Hank by now?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, come on. So they can't accuse me of rigging it.
No,
it's a blind draw. Blind draw. The other thing is, and we're still working out some logistics with this. Maybe Pilk has some breaking news on this. I don't know.
This thing's going in circles.
Okay, so it is. We're going to be on the Inside Pirate Athletics is going to be at Tiebreakers at 12:30 next Monday because of women's basketball being played at 6 o'clock. Why they couldn't have moved the show up an hour, or maybe move basketball up back an hour, I don't know. Who am I? I'm just a man who goes wherever anybody tells him to after reaching an agreement for compensation. So what do I know? And so the show will be at 12:30 at Tiebreakers. Are we airing it live?
That's the thing in circles. I don't know if I'm going to go on a limb and say it's probably going to be aired again at 6 for the sake of our affiliates, because our affiliates are not going to tap in.
Because the affiliates are not going to pick it up at 12:30 in the middle of a day.
Yeah. So I'm guessing it's going to be both. I'm sure if Mr. Igo has anything to say about it, it will not be aired live. When I broke the news to him that it could possibly cut into his show, he wasn't happy about it.
Okay, how many times has this been preempted?
I know.
If
he's spoiled. He never gets preempted, man. You never get preempted the noon hour. He's spoiled. That's what it is.
Longest tenured, least amount of money. That's the P-Man when it comes to 94.3 the game. All right, let us go now to top 5. Why not?
This may very well be our last mission. Let's make it count.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
It's impossible.
Now some stories you may have heard. Or catch it for the first time. This is your 5 at 5 with the P-Man.
Yeah. You have the cooler ones.
All right.
You sound like the bad guy.
Number one.
Before we get to number one, you sound like the bad guy in Home Alone because the kids' movie and they can't cuss, and he's just making sounds that sound like cuss words. That's what you just sounded like, Patrick. I thought that was very funny.
Of course, that's what I was doing, Bill.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Number one, the Pirates will be facing a Temple offense on Saturday that scores 33 points a game. Coach Harrell, when he spoke to the media yesterday, talked about how they can approach that defensively.
Yeah, I think they're averaging about 33 points a game, and I think it starts with the run. You know, I say it starts with the run game for them. They've done a really good job of that throughout the season. But Saturday, they hit it through the air. They're explosive plays down the field, and I thought they took more shots down the field. After a made first down or in the shot zone, he's putting the ball down the field. So we got to do a good job staying on top of those receivers and having a plan for that. And then at the same time, make sure we shut down the run game. So they're a very balanced attack, doing a better job, especially later in the season here, of doing that. But we got to do a great job tackling. I think we've done a pretty good job tackling up to this point. I think that running back's a load, and quarterback certainly can pull and hurt you. So we got to be sound in our responsibilities and certainly stay on top of the pass game at the same time.
All right, there you go. Look, Pilk, this is going to come down to a couple of things. Can you take care of the ball? Because Temple's going to take care of the ball. Can you figure out a way, I think possibly through the special teams, to steal a possession? And can you stay ahead of the chains, and can you maybe figure out a way to get Temple behind the chains? Because Temple's not played a whole lot this year from behind the chains, if you will. They've not been mistake-laden. They've done a pretty good job up front. They usually get a good amount of yardage on first down. We're working on a number to confirm what that is they get per first down play and hope to bring that to you at some point this week. But the point is, this is not a team that's going to take a sack. They get rid of the ball quickly. May not have the greatest offensive line. So how the Pirates are able to maybe do things in those passing downs downfield, can you force some coverage sacks, etc.?
I think you're going to have to force some of those coverage sacks, and the tough thing is winning that point of attack on first down. When Coach Harrell there said it starts with the run for them, that's what he meant was their ability to get first down yardage via the run. And when they do that, it really opens up their playbook and allows them theoretically to have 2 shots to get a first down. And what I mean by that is if it's 2nd and 12, you don't really have 2 shots to get a first down. You got 1. You got 1 shot to get it to third manageable, then 1 shot to get a first down. They really can open up that playbook and do whatever they would like on second down because a lot of times they are in that 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4 situation because of, like Coach said there, their ability to run the football. They also have implemented a zone run scheme in this year, something we have not seen in the past. Simon was always decently mobile. We didn't realize that he could actually truthfully run the football. Casey Keeler has brought in a more broad scheme that allows this team to do more and become less predictable.
We reach all the way over here for number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2, there are a lot of coaches getting fired. And yesterday, Dave Dorn was asked about what he thinks might happen to him at the end of the season. Here's part of that question as well as Coach's response.
Head coaching decisions. Have you faced any pressure
to speed up what should be an end-of-the-year decision?
No. I mean, Boo's been, I've said this before, he's a great guy to work for. I don't worry about that. I got to worry about my players. I got to worry about my staff, my wife, my children. Those decisions aren't mine to make. And I told the team this yesterday. I'm going to give them everything I got. Like, our goal is to go win this football game. And then the next week, we have a bye week, try to get them healthy. And then our next week, go win a football game. And you just keep going. There's a lot of football left. A lot of games, and what happens at other schools has nothing to do with what's happening to me. And when decisions are made, they're made.
He is right about that. I mean, what is going on? Because Kirby Smart was asked something similar, and about the situation at LSU. Now, Kirby Smart was on staff once upon a time at LSU, so he has a little bit of insight. Albeit it was many, many years ago. He has some insight into the goings on in Baton Rouge. So that was probably, and it was also in the SEC, so a little bit of a valid question. Obviously, what's going on at LSU and what's going on at Florida and what's going on at Penn State has nothing to do with NC State, because NC State's not at that level, despite the fact that their fans think they are this great, giant, enormous football institution. They're a basketball school. Anyway, we say this to say that I firmly believe, Philip Pilkington, you can't look at Doeren. You kind of have to look at the Doeren situation in a vacuum. You can't compare it to anything else. It's not what happened at Virginia Tech, because that was a disaster. There was Brent Pry, the guy at Virginia Tech that they got rid of. I mean, just had the offense was non-existent. Doeren has been a solid citizen by and large. Our fans maybe don't like hearing that, but I mean, there's no scandal, embroiling or surrounding the program. He's pompous, but name me a coach that's not with an ego. You won't find one. A lot of coaches have egos.
Blake Harrell doesn't.
Blake's probably got an ego. I mean, everybody's got an ego.
Yeah, everybody's got a little bit of one, but compared to a normal college football coach, no, Blake Harrell doesn't have one.
No, he's as down to earth as any person, but Blake takes a lot of pride in what he does. That's probably the better way to put it.
Yeah.
But Double D's pompous. He sent guys to the pros. They've won a lot of games. He's their all-time wins leader. I mean, the situation in Raleigh, we'll get Giglio's thoughts on this coming up. And in fact, maybe even have that cut queued up for when we get Joe on next segment. Because here's what I say, Pilk. It is familiarity breeds contempt.
It does.
And especially in sports. And so you have a window, and he has probably outlasted the window 3 times over. And all the word, I talked to a really dyed-in-the-wool NC State guy. Now, he's not one of the big, he's not boss hog money parking in the number 3 spot at Carter Finley. But, this guy's been a supporter, and his family's been a supporter for many, many, many moons. I saw him last Friday, and we talked briefly about this. And he has said, I think he said, I love everything Dave Doeren has done, and it does do with our program, except coach game days. And so, and last I checked, that's a big part of it. So, the consensus out of there is he's going to retire. So that's why you heard the part of the question, have you been to speed up a decision? It's not they're going to fire Doeren, but they maybe will encourage him to call it a day.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for 3?
Yep.
3.
It was awkward. Did you get a haircut?
Yeah, a few weeks ago.
Okay.
NHL Marathon tonight. All 32 teams in action. I believe this is the 3rd time they've done this. Kind of a fun thing. Games start roughly every 15 minutes. They do like a little red zone channel type thing. I think it's fun. I think the NBA should do it too.
The NBA should do it because the NBA right now is in a major, major PR situation. The NBA's got a bunch of things wrong with it. NBC coming into the fold is probably one of the better things that could happen, because when was the NBA last in its heyday? NBC was the broadcast partner.
Yeah.
ESPN is not even showing inside the NBA on a regular basis, which, I mean, good for those guys in Atlanta and the Turner people because at least they're still working, but they're also not having to work every single week.
Yeah.
So good for them. Bad for the fans. And then there's this gambling stuff going on. That's a big black eye to a league that needs some positive PR. People don't. You might have rooted against Jordan, but you sure as hell respected him. Nobody respects LeBeijing.
Well, the thing is, man, tying this back to the NHL thing, the NHL is growing better than anybody right now. Yeah, the stars are aging. Yeah, that's why I got Cooper Flag, man. Cooper Flag.
I mean, he's the next young star. He's got to be. Wemby. I mean, there's not a whole lot. And then you got, what's his name there in Milwaukee?
Giannis
saying, I want to leave the country as soon as possible.
Yeah.
A lot of problems with the NBA.
They should start taking some notes in the NHL. Man, the NHL's been doing it right, man. They are growing. They are growing, and they're growing quickly.
Yep. And their model still is predicated on ticket sales.
It is. Very much so. Good for them.
I will, if I can, watch tonight.
4.
Number 4 last night.
Intrigues me. The hopping around intrigues me.
It does me too. Last night, 18 innings. Freddie Freeman walks it off, ties for the longest game in World Series history. Coincidentally, that game was also a Game 3 and also played at Dodger Stadium and also against an American League East team.
I got another note for you there. Here is Freddie Freeman after the game.
To have it happen again a year later to hit another walk-off, I don't. It's kind of amazing, crazy, and I'm just glad we won. And we're up 2-1, and we got our Shohei on the mound tomorrow.
So Shohei will come out and pitch tonight. Yeah, it is tonight. Tonight. 3 for 3, 2 home runs, 9 times on base, which tied a record. The last time a game went extra innings or 18 innings was 2018. And like last night, Brad Paisley sang the anthem before the game.
He's actually done it 4 times. They've all gone to extras. They have not all gone 18, but 2 of them have, and the only 2 that have, he has sung the national anthem.
So Brad Paisley is announced to be singing the national anthem at at a game that you're going to. Expect to be there a long time.
5.
Pair of quarterback news coming out late yesterday and then some early today. It was just after we got off the air yesterday. It was announced that Lamar Jackson is expected to make his triumphant return after missing 3 straight games when the Ravens take on Frat Boy and the Fins on Thursday night. Also, the other thing going on, it sounds like Kellen Moore has announced that he will bench Spencer Rattler for a rookie second-round pick, Tyler Kershaw or something like that.
Okay. Let's start with the situation with Lamar Jackson because he's a star, and it's Baltimore who, the Chiefs dug themselves an 0-2 hole. But look, and lo and behold, who's right now the most dangerous team in the AFC? The team that wasn't even in when they started the game last night. We're on the outside looking in. Had the playoffs started today?
Yeah,
or yesterday?
Yep.
They're the hottest team right now. Nobody wants to play them. There's a lot of like Double D said, there's a lot of football left. There's a ton of football left in the NFL season. All you got to do really is get in. And that's kind of what Philly did last year. Just got to get in. Got to get hot late and get in. It's a big hole. It's a big hole. But he makes a difference, Pilk.
He does. It's not insurmountable. This team can do it.
It's not insurmountable.
Chiefs one year started 1-5, ended up 11-5. This was not a Mahomes Chiefs team.
Right.
This is an Alex Smith Chiefs team.
But still,
yeah,
they got hot at the end. I mean, it's rare. It's a long shot. As for New Orleans, I wanted to talk about this a little bit yesterday with the Bucs. The Bucs did not play great offensively Sunday.
No.
They relied on their defense, and yet they still beat the hapless Saints, who did an awful job of taking care of the ball. Just a dreadful job of taking care of the ball.
Yeah.
So the Saints, what do you have to lose at this point?
Nothing. I mean, what you have to lose is a guy that you drafted highly not getting him a chance. And so now they're giving him a chance. I say you lose more by keeping him on the bench for a guy that you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let him play. What do you got to lose? It's not like Rattler's been doing anything remotely competitive. And by the way, Taysom Hill is still there. How is that the case, Pilk?
I don't know, man. He's their Swiss Army knife, man. He's their Shohei, just on a way less level.
Put him at quarterback. See if he can do a better job.
Yeah.
All right, Joe Giglio, when we come back, he's slated to join us. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Giglio. All smiles. I wonder why Pilk was looking away. He was mesmerized by that rugged, good-looking Joe Giglio fellow. All right, it is the Patrick Johnson Show, and we continue here on 94.3 The Game.
Remember, get the podcast of the show on the IBX Media app or where you get your podcasts.
I listen on my Apple Watch.
Smart speaker.
Listen while you work.
I listen everywhere.
The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
So, Joe, you were in Greenville 16-ish, well, not quite 16 days ago. It'll be 16 days when the layoff, a little less than 2 weeks ago, when they took on Tulsa. And you've shown up at a few games. I'm very proud of you for enjoying some fandom.
Yeah,
and hanging out. And I love the fact you just go to games as a fan now. What a gig. You just go, you watch the games, and then you talk on a mic about it the next day or Monday or whatever. I mean, what a life. What a life we lead. So, hey, Joe, you said you're a little worried about. Tell me what you're worried about with ECU. I want to hear. Is it about the team? Is it about the fact that the crowd stunk? What are you worried about?
Yeah, no, that's not the team. I thought they played just fine. At 4-3 with the losses that they have, they're probably shaking their heads still about the state game in the first 20 minutes of that game. Why they were asleep, I don't know. But I think they have a nice team this year. I worry that what is it now? 10, 15 years of maybe not having the most desirable home schedule has kind of eroded the fan base. I worry about, part of it is the league that they're in, which is very competitive, but there's not a lot of geographical ties that make a lot of sense for ECU and then maybe the teams that they traditionally play. But I also worry like the price of going to games is not cheap, and I get that. I just figured they would have. I've been to games in Greenville where there are more people, regardless of the opponent. And I get it. Weekdays are tough. Thursdays are tough. The BYU game was a BYU takeover, quite frankly. That game in September was a perfect Saturday. So I'm not denigrating the ECU fan base. It's probably more of an observation. This is what happens over 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, gosh, our guy Steve Logan hasn't been out there pimping the program for 25 years now. So I get it. I get all these factors at play. It's just made me a little bit sad. That's all.
I think it is. Well, so it's the second home game that was on consecutively on Thursday night, and Thursday night ain't what Thursday night used to be.
Right.
Interestingly enough, their TV numbers are up 39% year over year. So that's obviously a direct correlation to being on either ESPN or ESPN2, whichever it was for BYU. I think these Thursday night games, because I'm still not, Amazon can tell you whatever they want. I'm still not convinced they're showing up in droves to that stuff. Maybe they are. I'm not convinced that they're doing gangbuster numbers like they do on Sunday or Sunday night.
Yeah. Well, I mean, know you get free, even if you had free tickets and free parking, it's still a costly venture to go to the stadium.
Well, no, and now it's, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, Joe, right? But if you're going to go to a game now, you have to carve out your entire, it's a day-long ordeal now.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was always like that.
It's because college games take 4 hours. NFL you can do in 3. College games are way too long.
You pay and you get in and it takes forever and everything's a line. And it just, the more modern and more convenient we get, the bigger pain in the ass it is for Jimmy and Jane Walmart.
For everybody, really.
True.
Be honest. Yeah.
I want to play a clip for you.
Little Washington, though. It's been nice. Stayed there my last 2 trips downtown there. It's been cool. I've enjoyed it.
So you've stayed in like at a bed and breakfast, a little B&B action? What's going on there? Okay.
Yeah. Downtown.
Heck on, Giglio. How about you?
After the first year, I couldn't find a spot anywhere near Greenville. And I was like, hey, we ventured out. It's been cool. It's been cool.
The little Washington waterfront is a gem. It really is.
Yeah.
It is a gem. Look at you. Laid back Joe Giglio. I love it. Family man going to the B&B, going to football games as a fan. There's nothing I love better. All right. The great Joe Giglio, the OG podcast. I want to play this for you from Dave Doran when asked about a decision being made for the end of the year. Someone was trying to correlate it with all these mid-season firings as if anything was going to be announced, certainly not from NC State Athletics on the future of Dave Doran. But if anything, if Doran was going to go ahead and say, yep, that's it, I'm hanging it up. Play the clip.
Head coaching decisions. Have you faced any pressure to speed up what should be an end-of-the-year decision?
No. I mean, Boo's been, I've said this before, he's a great guy to work for. I don't worry about that. I got to worry about my players. I got to worry about my staff, my wife, my children. Those decisions aren't mine to make. And I told the team this yesterday. I'm going to give them everything I got. Like, our goal is to go win this football game. And then the next week, we have a bye week. Try to get them healthy. And then our next week, go win a football game. And you just keep going. There's a lot of football left, a lot of games. And, what happens at other schools has nothing to do with what's happening to me. And when decisions are made, they're made.
I asked Pat Welter this when we had him on a couple weeks ago because he was doing everybody's show, including this one. I asked him this, and that is, that last game of the year, who is, out of those two coaches, who's more likely to be the head coach in the 26 opener? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's Bill Belichick at this point. I've said all along, I was like, I'm not breaking news here. I talked about this pretty much since spring, that Dave Doran is at a point in his life where I believe he wants to do something else. We had a chance to talk to him in July, and he laid out for us as clear as possible. Dave Doran's been their coach for 13 years. I've covered him since the day he was hired. It was the best interview we've ever had with him. And, well, yes, that's a low bar, but I thought he was honest. I thought in the answer that he gave to Brian Murphy there, I thought he was kind of at peace, if you will. Note, he didn't say, I'm coming back next year. Note, he didn't say any of those things that he has said in the past. He's basically, they're letting this play out. And I advanced 2 weeks ago now that I would have announced that he's retiring. That's what I would have done, and put yourself in a position to set up for next season. But they clearly don't. Boo Corrigan, Dave Doran, they don't see it that way. And if that's the way they want to play it out, okay. The reaction at Carter Finley Stadium for Georgia Tech on Saturday will probably not be kind. And the reaction when Florida State comes to town in 3 Fridays, probably more of the same. I think they would have been better served to make a decision and make an announcement. But I don't run NC State football. I don't run NC State anything. So they're free to make their own decisions. If they were to listen to me, they'd probably be a little bit better position. But that's a different podcast, a different radio show.
Do you think?
Just alleviate the pressure, Patrick? You've seen this before,
right?
Whether it's Tom O'Brien, John Bunning, Larry Fedor. John Bunning was the one they actually did announce that he would be gone. And remember, they rallied, they beat Duke, they beat State, and they kind of went off on a winning note in 2006 when Carolina made that decision for John Bunning. So everyone's got to do their own thing. I get that. I think Dave Doran has earned the right, as the winningest coach in school history, as crazy as that might sound, to finish his 13th year. I think he went into this year his eyes clear, with a full heart, if you will, and understanding where he was in this process. And, he's 53 years old. He once told me he wanted to retire by the time he was 55. And I asked him about this summer, and he kind of reiterated that, his father came down with Alzheimer's and didn't really have a chance to enjoy his retirement. Dave's made generational wealth at NC State. He's not someone who chases a lot of money, but he has made a bunch of it. his family's safe, his future is secure, and he can go and enjoy it. And I think there's part of that he wants to do, and I don't begrudge him that right to do it either.
How coveted would that job be, given everything else that's open right now and may open?
Yeah, I mean, listen, NC State was never going to hire a football coach in the same circles as Florida or LSU or Penn State or Florida State. That's just a fact. That those other jobs are open, does it potentially cost them a John Sumrall maybe? I don't know. I would say to you, and I've advanced on the program, Ovius and Giglio, pretty much all football season and all off season. When you think about Boo Corrigan, you think about Notre Dame, and you think about his connections there. There are some former offensive coordinators at Notre Dame that I think were probably going to be in the circles of who Boo Corrigan was going to hire anyway. We can make an argument for Scott Satterfield, who's creeping back into the picture with the work he's done this year at Cincinnati. You can make an argument for, Brian Kelly, which I think would be a big mistake, but you can make an argument for it. I just look at NC State and look at where they are financially. Patrick, there's $60 million behind North Carolina in their athletic budget this year. $60 million. I'm not comparing them to Ohio State or Texas. I'm comparing them to their sister institution in the same league, 20 miles down the road. $60 million. It's a wide gap between the two schools in the same conference. And Virginia Tech has come out and said, here's what we're going to do as a university. North Carolina obviously has made that announcement and did last year when they fired Mac Brown and hired Bill Belichick. We can argue about hiring Bill Belichick all you want, but the commitment is there. NC State has not come out and said what their commitment is going to be. And until they do, I just don't know where the money's going to come from. No doctors, no lawyers. Those are things that always have worked against NC State. They found ways around that before, but it's the price of the brick has never been higher in college football, and it just keeps going up and up. And I think actually NC State made a strategical decision last spring to say, we're going to invest in men's basketball, and we're going to take a chance that we can make some hay there. And if you think about it, it's certainly the more easier financial path if you're a power conference team.
Sure. But does that move give you some hope that they might think a little outside the box with the future of the football program?
Here's the way I understand it. I think Brian McMurray, the money guy for NC State, is the one who really pushed for Will Wade, and it's his money. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about a potential $12 million investment this year in NC State men's basketball, a healthy chunk of that is coming from Brian McMurray. So he had a big say in it. I don't know if there's a football person who has that, but B, Boo Corrigan does not fancy himself a basketball person. He's always considered himself to be a football guy. Went to Notre Dame.
Right.
And his dad was the AD at Notre Dame. I like to say it's like a sickness when you go to Notre Dame. They haven't been good since 1988, but that's neither here nor there. I get it. They played for the championship last year. I get it.
Sure.
But there really is like a 1950s mentality for people who go there. And there just happens to be a glut of Notre Dame people in leadership positions in the state of North Carolina, right? From the commissioner of the ACC down to all three athletic directors in the Triangle. And there's almost always a Notre Dame connection in their decisions. And I have identified Tommy Rees, former Notre Dame offensive coordinator. He's 33 years old. He's with the Cleveland Browns right now. That might not sound very sexy to you, but it's the kind of coach who fits the profile that I think NC State will go for. Because quite frankly, Patrick, I think they have to go for someone younger. I think they have to go for an offensive-minded coach. I think they probably need to go cheaper, and they need to invest in their roster. Like, it doesn't matter who your coach is, as we see.
Right.
Bill Belichick, arguably the greatest coach of all time, can't coach his way out of a paper bag anymore, but we see it. If you don't have the right roster and you don't have talent on your roster, well, then it doesn't matter who's coaching your team. So I think NC State would be wise to go for a younger coach and invest more in their roster. To finish my point about Boo, he fancies himself a football guy. He was on the college football playoff committee. He regularly, will talk with Dave Doran, go to practice, be involved in football. It's the sport that he has chosen that he kind of, again, thinks of himself as a football knower. And I think you're less likely to have a Brian McMurray type person influence his decision and be more likely to see something that quite frankly, something that he's been working on probably the last 2 or 3 years in the case of trying to find someone potentially to replace Dave Doran.
With basketball around the corner, I want to ask you this and go out on a hoops question regarding Duke. Are we talking enough, especially how much Cooper Flagg we heard about last year, are we talking enough about Cam Boozer?
That performance at Tennessee on Sunday is one of the more impressive, certainly the most impressive preseason performance I've ever seen. Just one of the more impressive college basketball performances I really have ever sin. 24 points, 23 rebounds, 6 assists. I think much of the offense ran through him in the second half of that game. I don't know what there is not to like. Obviously, he'll have games where there's foul trouble. There'll be games where he's not feeling good. There'll be games where his girlfriend breaks up with him or whatever. I'm sure there'll be times where he doesn't look as good as he did on Sunday, but it's tremendous what John Shire has done in their ability to push that program forward after Mike Krzyzewski. We've literally never seen it before in college sports. It's fascinating. I know they lost in heartbreaking fashion in the Final Four last year. Probably should have been the national champions last year. I don't know. But they're certainly not dwelling on it. They're moving forward. And you see, look at Connecticut and the problems they had last year and all of the whinging that Danny Hurley has done since winning back-to-back titles. Duke is the only one that just seems to kind of plot its way forward. Kansas, you could argue as well. But it just seems like Duke is doing this at a different level. And, Cam Boozer is just the latest example.
Hey, Joe, thanks a lot. Don't know if you'll make it down to Greenville or Little Washington, as it were, any of the remaining 2 ECU home games. I hope you do, and I hope we'll see you at one of them.
Absolutely. November 8th, I will be there for the Charlotte game. I just saw the 3 p.m. kick. Excited.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a day trip, though, so we'll see.
Okay. Well, still, a day trip, better than most. All right. Happy Halloween, too, Joe.
Absolutely, P. Man. Appreciate you having me on.
The great Joe Giglio from the Ovius and Giglio podcast, the OG podcast, wherever you download your favorite podcast. We'll do a Harrell Huddle with Blake Harrell when we come back.
And now, the stunning conclusion.
Why is everyone screaming?
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, thanks to Joe Giglio for being on with us. Time for our Harrell Huddle for Healthwise Pharmacy. Henry Hinton joins us, and we welcome the coach of the Pirates, Blake Harrell. Henry?
And welcome back. It's time for our Harrell Huddle with ECU head football coach Blake Harrell, as the Pirates now with a 4-3 record, 2-1 in the American, head to Philadelphia and Temple this weekend. And I got Coach Harrell on the phone. Coach, before we talk about this big game at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia on Saturday, let's kind of recap. You're finally done with Thursday night games, and I know you're probably happy about that, but a big win over Tulsa Thursday before last, and that's put you guys in position here to stay in contention even for a potential conference championship. So how do you feel about the position you're in right now?
Yeah, no doubt. I'm definitely thankful to be done with those Thursday night games and night games, at least for the next couple of weeks for sure. Looking forward to a Saturday game up in Philly and a day game as well. I think just sometimes those night games can make for long days. But, going back to Tulsa, you're exactly right. Had a big win and thought, the offense played really well. Had 568 yards, 268 on the ground. Was able to move the ball down the field to Anthony, and he got in the end zone a couple times. Thought Caton played really well. And defensively, I thought we did some good things. We created 10 TFLs and 5 sacks. There's a few times in there we just got some eye violations. Take our eyes off our man. He gets free from us, so let's play a little better there and, turn that into a game it should be. But all in all, it's a win, and it's a chance to move 2-1 in the conference. And we always say, the most important games of your season are in November. You obviously can't overlook September or October, but the games that really matter if you're doing your job are in November. And no more important than this one this weekend against Temple in Philadelphia, and it's one game at a time, and that's how your focus has got to be. And as I told our players today, it's one day at a time. You got to win Tuesday before you can win on Saturday, and it's play by play. And I know that's kind of sounds like coach talk, but it's very true. You got to focus on the moment and make sure you're preparing the right way.
As you look at the conference, Memphis had the surprise loss at UAB, and then South Florida goes to Memphis and loses last week. Those are two of the teams that everybody thinks will contend for the conference championship. And, of course, you still have North Texas and Navy, but they've still got some tough games ahead. So it's anybody's game right now. If you just keep winning, you don't know what might happen. The Pirates could find themselves in a really good spot at the end of November.
Yeah, that's the main focus, is just keep winning. I mean, you're looking at a Temple team here as well that, they got one loss, could be undefeated if they just probably center the ball up and kick a field goal at the end of the Navy game, or at least bring some time off the clock. So it's a very tight conference right now. I think it's much improved from where it was a year ago. And, a lot of teams is kind of wide open, and, we got to control what we control. We just talked about the weather today. You can't control that. You control the controllables. And what we control is the Pirates and our effort and our edge and our energy that we play with.
Our Harrell Huddle brought to you by Healthwise Pharmacy every Wednesday here, unless we have Thursday night games. It's good to be back on a regular schedule doing this as well, Coach. All right, let's talk about Temple this weekend. The X factor in this thing, of course, is that you're playing in, regardless of how the X's and O's, you're playing in Lincoln Financial Field where the Philadelphia Eagles play. I've been up there before. It can be a tough environment because it's a huge cavern stadium, beautiful, beautiful facility, but Temple doesn't draw many fans, and I think it's going to be a cinch that there'll be less than 10,000 fans there. Could be between 5,000 and 8,000 fans there on Saturday afternoon. How do you prepare the guys for that?
Yeah, and I think, for some of our players, it's the first time they've played in an NFL stadium. It's been a while since we played up there, I think a couple of years, and you haven't played at South Florida in several years. So those are two NFL stadiums that are in our conference. So it'll be the first time for some of our guys. They're excited about it. The one thing that you do kind of NFL field compared to a college field is the numbers. When your receivers are lining up or your corners are lining up, the guys on the perimeter there, they can kind of get confused with the NFL numbers and the college numbers. So on their field, the actual numbers will be the NFL numbers, and then you'll have some tick marks out wide where the college numbers are being. So we make sure our practice field just matches exactly that, so our receivers and perimeter guys get used to that. But the big focus, again, going up there is not, what Temple does or who they have in the stands and their fans. It's really about us and bringing our energy and making sure we take care of the Pirates.
So you're averaging 30 points a game and only allowing 17 points a game. That's really good, especially the defensive part of that, 17 points a game. And, do you feel pretty good about those statistics?
Yeah, as a coach, it's never good enough, right? I think it all goes together. Defensively, you would like to keep a few points off the board here and there, and really hold them to about 2 scores a game, and you feel pretty good about it. And I think offensively, if you can get 4 more scores a game, you feel pretty good about it on that side. And we're doing close to that on both sides of the football. We just got to make sure we're consistent. We've had some really good efforts at times this year on both sides of the football, and even including special teams. And a half where we played really good defense, a half where we didn't, a half where we played really good offense, and a half where we didn't. We got to be more consistent. And we got to do the little things better than our opponent throughout the game to help us be consistent, and that'll get us where we need, and the stats will kind of fall where they need to fall. And I'm not a huge stat guy. I know that certain ones matter, certain ones don't. Obviously, scoring points matters. Holding them off the board matters. I think the turnover margin is huge, and shout out to Temple. They've only had 1 turnover on the season, so we got our work cut out in trying to create some there. But again, I think that goes back to a complete team effort. If offensively we can get a lead on them and put them kind of behind the score in the game, we have a chance to put a little pressure on them and make them play uncomfortable.
Coach Blake Harrell with us here, our Harrell Huddle, as we talk with the head coach of the Pirates, Coach Blake Harrell, brought to you by Healthwise Pharmacy. Coach, one of the things that we talked about the other night on Inside Pirate Athletics from Tiebreakers was just how you have approached this unprecedented 16 days off since your last game. You're on that wonky Thursday schedule. back onto a Saturday slate here, and some key games as we've noted, and you have noted this year coming up for the Pirates with a lot ahead of them. But it feels like to me that your guys, in talking with them, a lot of the players feel like they are fresh, not only physically, and I know there's some guys nicked up. That happens this time of year. But I think mentally they feel really fresh and really focused. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I think as Malcolm pointed out, Malcolm Gray, I think it's the biggest layoff in ECU, history. Maybe going back to 2008, or you may have the stat there better than I do. But 16 days, I think previously it was 15 days. But 16 days is a while. I think the thing it allows you to do is kind of reset, recover, all the re's, reset, recover, refocus, and re-energize yourself. And I think you do that in a lot of different ways. Not only taking care of your bumps and bruises, not only refocusing on what you got to do better, but also kind of resetting your mind. I think sometimes in this game or any job or any company or any organization, you can kind of burn yourself out as you grind through things. So you kind of get a chance to take an opportunity to take a step back and take a little time away. And I told Coach Shankweiler the other day, sometimes the best medications just get away from each other for a few days, and then you come back and you're eager to get out there and go practice with urgency and intent and purpose. And a lot of folks worry about having a slow start after a bye week. I think I feel like our guys are eager to get it back out there and go play a game and go back at it. So I'm fired up about that.
Look, Coach, there's no reason to say you want to get away from Shank. We know he can get a little grumpy. So
he may say the same about me. Who knows?
Yeah. Hey, I want to ask you though about the way you guys have yourselves taken care of the football. Caden Hauser's grasp of the offense certainly, I think, is something that contributes to that. Henry made a great point the other morning on the program, and that was really since the BYU game, and it's really those two plays of the BYU game, East Carolina has done a much better job of valuing the football and possessing the football. So, was there anything in particular, or is that just it was emphasized and finally kind of broke through because you were able to show them, hey, guys, we take care of the pill against BYU. It's a different story.
Yeah, I think going back, Patrick, just a few things there is it's always the focus. The ball is the most important thing in the program on both sides of it. And I think the first drill we do every Tuesday is all about the ball. For offensively, that's ball security. Defensively, that's trying to create turnovers and punching the ball out and doing some things there. So that's part of the focus. I just heard Coach Freeman talking this morning, about high and tight, keeping the ball up high, don't let it get down low, and really harping on those guys. And we don't talk much about our success because you don't want to jinx it. But I think, the running backs and the ball carriers, receivers, everybody's doing a good job of protecting the football. And they get in traffic, getting two hands on it or arm locking it, when they're out wide, keeping it high. And I think Caden, outside of the couple times he pressed there and tried to make a play, I think he's done a really good job of taking care of it. In the Coastal game, I thought, we got a deflection there, and it kind of led to a pick there. But some of those you'll live with, too. I mean, we're putting the ball in his hands to make good decisions, letting him be a little bit of a gunslinger back there. So you're going to have some turnovers from time to time. But I think he's done an exceptional job of managing that and putting the ball in good places.
Coach Blake Harrell. All right, Coach, good luck up at Temple. This team has been a little bit up, a little bit down. They've won some close games. They've lost some close games. They had Navy beat until they let their quarterback get away right in the last play of the game almost and score about a 50-yard touchdown run. And then they won that game at Tulsa last week in overtime. So it's an interesting team. And just kind of give us, if you would, 30 seconds on what concerns you most about Temple.
Yeah, like you said, they've had ups and downs throughout the year and can easily be sitting here, with 6-2, undefeated in the conference. They were driving down on Navy end of the game, hit a big pass play, get down there to the 1-yard line. You're thinking it's over. And Navy's actually trying to stop them instead of letting them score. And Temple goes ahead and scores, where they probably just, wait till third down and kick a field goal, or third down, try to score then. They probably eat up enough clock to win the game. And then they had a big win in overtime at Tulsa last week, dominated Charlotte. It's a really good football team that takes care of the football, stays on schedule. And I think that's the key for us on both sides of the football. We got to keep them off schedule, make them play at second and long, third and long, make their quarterback, sit back there and drop back pass, make their O linemen pass protect. And then offensively, we got to stay on schedule. We got to pick up the first down, move the ball down the field. And I think I don't see them get a line and set it to tempo extremely well. So I think we can take advantage of that. So we got to go play our style of football, put our foot on the gas, and play for 4 quarters.
All right, Blake Harrell and the Harrell Huddle brought to you by Healthwise Pharmacy. Coach, 2 o'clock kickoff, which will be helpful a little bit on a Saturday. Kind of going to feel a little bit unusual for you, I think. Be back to a normal football Saturday. And
no doubt. We're looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you for being on with us, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.
This our Harrell Huddle presented by Healthwise Pharmacy. Thanks to Joe Giglio today. We'll be back tomorrow in the morning on Talk of the Town. And we'll be back tomorrow, 5 o'clock. Mike Mullis, ECU Sports analyst for Pirate Baseball, ESPN Plus. All right, stay dry, stay safe. Catch you tomorrow.